Hello, wonderful people. If there are memories from your teenage years that still make you cringe, moments you replay and wish you could erase, well, this is for you. If rejection, awkward crushes, or not being chosen ever made you quietly believe you weren't enough, you're not alone. And nothing was ever wrong with you. Today is about healing those moments, not judging them, and taking back the innocence you never actually lost. And hi, if you're new here, I'm Cahir, and I'm here to take you one step closer to self love. And the reason why I'm making this video, guys, is because I struggled with cringy memories for years, like years, man. I think this is also could be with CPTSD. In the spiritual lens, they're called like samskaras, if I'm pronouncing it right, with this unprocessed emotional energy. And with Healthy Gamer, I was able to actually talk about my cringy moments, and it really helped. Um, I had this memory, which I'll get into. I called this girl an angel, and every time I heard the word angel, I would physically cringe, even after 16 years. Right? Like it's crazy, but I know a lot of my brothers and sisters out there, you guys might be, you know, cringing at these memories. So I think the best way to heal something that's in the dark, you have to bring it to the light, right? It's actually our fear of not talking about it that perpetuates the cycle. All right. So I want to talk about, I have a few girls in my cringe bank, and we're going to talk with the first one. Let's call her Ashley. I had a different name in my previous videos, but I just, just Ashley, from Mass Effect. So the name doesn't matter. So Ashley was my first crush. She's a brunette. She had like a kind of a fierce personality. I don't know. And that was like the first time I had feelings for a girl, right? It was actually the first time I gave a girl a compliment, right? I said, I like it when your hair is down. And I felt like $1,000,000. She like took the compliment. She's like, "Oh, thank you." Oh man, oh man. It felt good, because I think guys, you understand like how there is so much fear around, approaching women. I think maybe just the culture that we raised in, that it's like we look at each other as separate beings. I don't know what it is. Like especially if you're disempowered, right? Because I was already had like a very negative self-concept already in middle school. Sucks, right? But being brave and and doing something that is scary. It was good, right? It was good. However, ooh, right, things took a turn for the worse. I know I talked about it, but I'm gonna dive deeper into it. So also, like I mentioned in my previous videos, I had anger issues, like because I saw both of my parents were extremely angry people. They didn't regulate themselves. So I learned to also just express my anger openly, even though I didn't want to. I mean, I was a kid, right? I had no idea. But there there was this like cringy middle school dances. This is like so American, I think. I don't think in Poland they have something like this, but or maybe they do. I don't know. But um, so the park district in my area organized like parties for teens. I have no idea what it was called. Just this weird, bizarre thing where there was pizza, there's soda, loud music, kids are grinding on each other. Very overstimulating for me. And I don't remember exactly what happened. I think like a kid started making fun of me. I didn't know him. And this is outside of school. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna take this shit. I grabbed him and I threw him across the wall in front of Ashley. And then Ashley's like, "Oh my god, you're so angry!" Ah, I mean, okay, I know I use violence, but I think if you've ever experienced bullying, you always, like you always want to. Damn, I wish I could just fight back, and I had that moment to fight back. Doesn't matter, I acted out anger, and then the next day we went to school, and Ashley like dropped something on the floor. Um, like we were waiting outside the classroom, she dropped something. I was gonna go help her, And she's like, no, I don't want your help. And then all the kids around me, because they, especially my friends were there too, they knew about my crush and like, ooh. I'm laughing at it now, but as a 14-year-old, then man, it sucks. And the worst thing is, I didn't have anyone really to talk to about it. Not to, my guy friends that weren't really, um, I don't know, they weren't at that. I don't even remember. Maybe they had crushes or something, but I just didn't talk about it. And with my parents, emotionally immature parents, well, they even made it worse. Which we'll get back to that in a moment. But it accumulated in this event. Um, I've told this already, but maybe if you're new here, you haven't heard about it. But this is part of the story as well. I was wearing under an Under Armour shirt, and it like it clings to your body, and I was like really sweaty, and I guess I must have smelled, or actually I don't know, but and then Ashley said, "Oh, you should wear deodorant. You stink." Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, these are like fundamental, you know, these are core memories that. So what I learned from that, also from home, they're like, I'm unlovable. All right, there's something wrong with me. I'm a stinky little boy. you know, um, and that stuck with me for years. Right? It was like a betrayal. Right, and I'm thinking, what if I had a parallel reality where everything went well with Jenny? How would I look at girls now? But this is my story, my reality I'm in now, and I've told this one, but this is just so like egregious. I have to keep talking about it because the thing about emotional neglect, I don't think my parents had the tools to talk about these strong emotions, right? So at that, my mom picked me up from school, I was like super down. Like I could barely walk. It was just so heavy, just feeling this, like this belief I'm unlovable. There's something wrong with me. It's an awful feeling, and my mom was like, "What happened? Did somebody make fun of you? Was it a boy or a girl?" And I lied, right? I talked about this during Healthy Gamer. I'm like, I lied. Why? Because I didn't feel safe talking about that stuff with my parents. You know, I don't know where I learned it, but it was just a fact of the matter. It was just like I didn't feel safe. And I don't know. She found out. Maybe she figured out I was lying or something. Because I lied because I knew she'd make fun of me, and she still made fun of me. This is the thing. And then she said, "You're not good with girls, are you, boy?" I don't know how. I think I'll have to keep talking about this story because it's like such a betrayal. I would I think that's one of the worst fucking things you could say to your kid. Right? And the thing is, then Tata, my dad, I think that's the role of the father, kind of like to show you like how you're dealing with feelings with you know with liking the opposite sex or whatever, like dealing with that. And I had no one to talk to, and that really fucking sucks, guys. You know, and the thing is, like I just like my parents never talked about dating or relationships, like about their own personal histories. Like my dad, yes, but it was really disgusting. I'll just I don't know if I should get into it, but it was never about like maybe we had like one conversation where it's like, oh, you got to kiss the girl's hand, which is a very Polish thing. It's like a gentleman thing where you like, kiss the woman's hand and like, how are you, my lady? Wait, like about my mom, she never told me about anything. Like, I was like, what? She never dated before she met Tata. I didn't get it, and it's that, but like no help. It was worse than help. It was like kicking you when you're down, right? And so I learned. So this is what the ego interpreted this moment, right? I'm defective. Girls are judges. Love is something I fail at, right? The Holy Spirit reminds us this, right? No one here was powerful, only scared, right? I was a scared little boy. Shame was learned, not true. Remember, I am not the victim of the world I see. Hey guys, if you learn from my story, just you could ask yourself, where did I decide something painful meant something final about me, right? Just because I had one negative experience doesn't mean that's who I am, right? But I kept repeating this over and over again until it became my truth, right? I don't want that for you guys. All right, let's go to cringe number two, keeping up with the Mass Effect analogy. Let's call her Liara. And so Liara and I, we went to marching band together. We also had honors biology, which that class really sucked. But it was just some like flirting. I don't know. We talked for me like what constituted as flirting. And I don't know. I thought she liked me. I don't know. That's the thing. I was so clueless. And the thing is, I had so much anxiety, just even sitting next to her. And this is, I think, a lot of guys have this, right? As- Where does this anxiety come from? From fear. Like, oh, what if she rejects me? Rejects me? What if she thinks I'm a loser? Right? That's putting all your power outside of yourself, right? And I was doing that in spades, right? Also with limerence. You know, I from if you watch my previous video about CPTSD, limerence is like this obsessive love, right? So I had to think I had to like be super focused like on this one person and also like show grand gestures that I like this person or something. Because I was thinking like uh, I told you guys I'm originally from the Chicagoland area, and there's this thing called Winter Wonderland Fest, if I remember right. Yeah, and I was like, oh, maybe I could invite Liara. Oh my gosh, uh, that cringe. I should mention this because I did this preemptively. Right, I was 15 at the time. This is before I had a car, a driver's license, so I was very dependent on my parents to drive me anywhere. And I preemptively asked before asking Liara to Winter Wonderland. I'm like, "Hey, Mama, and Tata, I'm thinking about bringing a friend to Winter Wonderland. Um, is that okay?" And they're like, "Oh, what friend? What's their name?" I'm like, Liara." And of course, they're like, ooh, Liara, ooh, a girl." And it's like, all right, like I don't know. I felt so ashamed for the just like do you know what I mean? Like, what if they encouraged me, but like, oh wow, oh that's great, or anything, but like, I don't know. I felt like ashamed for liking a girl, man. That really sucks. Um, and then this is the thing. It's been so long, but I'm almost positive I called her. I think I did. I think I did. I don't even remember getting her number or whatever, but okay. I called her, I texted her. I'm pretty sure I called her. Yeah. Think about it, man. Like 15, I was like, especially from like, a shy introvert kid to call a girl like that. I don't remember what she said, obviously. No, she said no. Um, or actually, maybe I did it in person as well. Man, the time it's been so long, but of course, she said no, and I got, yeah, of course, I was like very sad about it. Luckily, I did have a friend, Mikoi, who was like more like a ladies' man, at least compared to my group of like nerdy friends. He had like, more more charm, I guess you could say. And he helped me. It's like, hey, like it's okay to feel what you're feeling. And that's great. I'm really glad about it. But the story gets even worse. So, of course, my mental anguish came from the story. I kept telling myself from, the story of Ashley, right? I'm bad with girls, right? And that's the thing. How can you get good at something if you're not going to keep practicing? It's like saying you're bad at the piano. Of course, in the beginning, you're going to be bad at it, but like, you just keep practicing and you love yourself during the journey. But the story I was telling myself was extremely negative. Like, oh, you're so bad at girls. You're such a fucking bitch. No, like, oh, you're so cringe. And of course, there was reason. That's the thing I think we struggle with because objectively, I don't know. I bet you guys are gonna say this is so cringy, but all right, I'm gonna do this. All right, this is the heal my cringe and heal your cringe, right? Remember, please write in the comments any cringy stories you have. Um, anyway, so I don't know after this incident, or I think this is after, yes. However, naive as I was, I thought maybe there's still a chance. And I don't know. I thought like maybe like maintaining like a friendship. This is how they say about being friends. So no, this like being like maybe if I'm her friend, eventually she'll like me. This the solution idea. But oh, this is so cringy, guys. Get ready for it. This is showing my age. But there was this viral video at the time. It was like giving that Christian side hug, Christian side hug. Maybe if you guys know, but it was um, this group made a song about like even hugging is not Christian. It's like you give like a side hug. I thought it was funny. I'm like, hey, at end of school, I just randomly to Liara be like, hey, Liara, this is a Christian side hug, and she got like really cringed. I was like, oh, thank you. I'll tell all my friends about it. And then she left, and I could see how like it was awkward, and of course it was awkward for me. And oh, the cringe! It was so cringy, Well, that's the thing, right? But what that was cringy, of course. But I could heal that story if I had a reframe, be like, okay, woo, 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 like let's not do that ever again, and be like, you know what, brush yourself off. It's all right. We did something a little bit silly, but this doesn't define you. It's of course I didn't have that positive mindset. I had like, oh, you fucking cringy little bitch. How could you fucking do that? you know, Kicking myself when I'm down, right? I learned to abandon myself, right, from a young age. So that this is another way I would abandon myself. Just kick myself off my team and make it worse. So I think it was a way for me not to repeat that negative behavior, but it just like at what cost, man? It was the cost of my soul. Feeling like, man, I'm just like a fucking loser, even though like, come on, like I know it's cringy. I'm not denying it's not cringy, but like the pain I felt from that moment lasted for years. I'm not even kidding. Like it was in my head rent free. I think until I was 25, 26, like, 10 plus years, man. It's crazy, but it's real because I didn't have the tools to heal it as I do now. And just a reminder from A Course in Miracles perspective, remember, sin is a lack of love. I was sinning hard because I was lacking love towards myself. Imagine if I had a loving voice, loving caretakers, to support me during this hard time, right? The answer to cringe is love. If you have any other answer, please let me know. This has worked for me, right? Loving yourself unconditionally through the cringe, guys, through the cringe, right? Like when you're abandoning yourself, that's the high time to go into unconditional love, right? Because I did the opposite, right? I went into like misery, shame, pain, and I made the problem 10 times worse. And that's why I lived in my head because I had this unprocessed emotion going on. All right, and let's almost done with Liara here. So much cringe, right? Um, and I think so limerence started really getting over. Remember limerence, obsessive love from CPTSD, and I don't remember what I was doing exactly. I think we were like messaging, or I was messaging her friend, and she was talking about like I don't know. It's just been so long, but like I probably messaged her friend, and she said like how maybe I made her uncomfortable with like asking her to Winter Wonderland or something akin to this. And I'm like, well, please, can we be friends at least? Like, can we at least be friends? See, cringe. Where's this coming from? Where's this coming from? Right? It's looking out for love outside yourself, right? Like I needed her approval. I needed her validation. I needed her to like me, even as a friend. Please. That's okay. Hey, bro, if you're going through anything like this, oh, you are unconditionally loved. Remember, let's not sin, right? Lack of love, right? No matter what, right? I'm just giving you my example. And I know I'm not the only person with cringy memories. I used to think that, right? Like everything is wrong with Cahir. Cahir is a cringy little bitch, but that's that's not the truth, right? Okay, I'm messaging her friend like, can we please be friends? Worst thing happened, and then I see a Facebook status of Liara saying, no, we can't be friends. And then all these comments supporting, like, oh, girl, what's wrong? Girl, what's wrong? Girl, what's wrong? Oh, my poor boy heart. Ooh, like a knife, you know? And for somebody that's not even like a romantic, not a romantic interest. Well, she's a romantic interest, right? But like, we weren't like romantically involved at all. And like, think of the heartbreak I was dealing with. And like I said, like I did have McCoy, but McCoy was a boy. Like he was my best friend, yeah. But he was just a boy. He didn't have like you know, the maturity to deal with, that kind of stuff. And I didn't, man, I think about it. I didn't even think about talking to that with my parents or to anybody. I just held it in. I held that memory in and I beat myself over the head with it for years. And it came back as a samskara, right? Those like repressed memories, right? And so I made a self concept out of that moment. Like Cahir, like I said, is a cringy little bitch baby, right? He has no idea what he's doing with girls. Like, what a loser, right? But I want to remind you from A Course in Miracles the self you made is not the Son of God, right? This ego, lower self nature, it's false. It's false. I'm getting stern here, right? Because even if you hold on to this, like this thought of being a loser, a bum, for 1%, that is not the love of God, right? The love of God is eternal, eternal, unconditional. Like, let's look up unconditional. What does it mean? It means under no condition, right? No matter what, no matter how cringy, if my cringe story is like a 10 for you, doesn't matter. Even if it's 11 out of 10, doesn't matter, right? We have no reason under the sun to abandon ourselves. No, absolutely not, right? But I did, right? And I'm telling you now, if you're having anything like this, right? This is not who you are. This is just your ego projection, right? Because imagine, right? If you love yourself during this journey, maybe you can even like ask for help if you are struggling with women. I'm like, I don't want to give too much advice, but just I'm just like conceptually, imagine you love yourself no matter what, and you're not afraid of making mistakes. Isn't that beautiful? No matter what, you won't abandon yourself, right? You make a mistake, you get some cringe, but you don't abandon yourself. And you're like, it's all right. It's all right. No matter what I do, no matter what I do, no matter what anyone says or does to me, I am always as perfect as God created me. Wholly loving, wholly lovable. That is your divine truth. Remember this. I just want to acknowledge, right? The pain was real. The meaning I gave it wasn't real, right? Rejection didn't define me. My interpretation did, right? Like I said, this whole is a super negative interpretation, right? Course in Miracles. You do not know what anything is for. You do not know what anything is for, right? We have infinite points of view, right? Even if I was in a room, like with like 100 people and like 99 people said there's cringe, there's always like a different viewpoint. There's always a different viewpoint how you look at things, right? Like I look at it now, I see myself who I really was, like no support, super anxious, dysregulated nervous system, CPTSD, super low self worth, looking for love outside of himself, recipe for disaster. I was just a boy, 15. I had no idea, right? So healing this means letting the Holy Spirit reinterpret the memory, right? I see through the eyes of Christ, not through the eyes of the ego. I I know, and this might sound blaming for my parents. Really, I'm still on this journey, right? Just doing my best, not to blame them, but just realizing, yeah, well, it's the truth. I didn't have anyone to talk to. If I did, like, I wouldn't, I probably wouldn't get the help I was looking for anyway. All right, all right. Remember, a miracle is a correction of false thinking, right? Because like you can like I use this as an excuse, right, to beat myself over the head so many times, right? But it's all false, and this is why I keep saying it over and over again because I had to say it over and over again. Like we gotta process this stuff. We gotta talk about it, and this is the thing. I didn't talk about it, so it was just inside. Right? We process it by talking about it, right? And that's why Healthy Gamer helped me so much about just letting go of this cringe. And wow, okay, this is really therapeutic for me because in the process of making this video, I kind of uncovered kind of a forgotten romance option. Uh, and let's call her Jack, Mass Effect 2, because if you that's the closest actually representation. Like she's athletic. Um, okay, Jack was. in the game was like socially outcast, but whatever. All right, just bear with me. All right. So Jack in real life, okay, she was athletic, super popular. If I remember right, she was like in the soccer team, and she's like really good at it. Um, and we connected in French class because I don't know we sat next to each other, and this is the thing. My untraumatized self was always there. So I had like bits and pieces of my like charisma. Sometimes my charisma, when I felt safe enough to be my true self, it would light up. And I think girls found that attractive. This is upon reflection, right? And so this is the thing. So I was in the friend zone, but let's have infinite compassion and love, right? This is the thing. I also want to talk about this because during that time where I think even the friend zone was even a concept talked about. So this was like what mid 2000s when I was like I think 2010. That's probably when or 2009 something like that. And now we think about oh like man like oh if you're in a friend zone you're weak you're a beta. Like I was just a boy. I had no idea what I was doing. This is the thing, you know. Like my friend group was there, but like we like I attracted people that were like me. I didn't know shit about girls. um, like uh, and I couldn't talk about it because I had this like deep shame. Like oh, like I said from my first one, Ashley. Like I can't talk about girls. So, and so I was just battling this stuff alone. And when they talk about friend zone guys, well, let's think about it. Like, uh, we got for me pretty close because I was spending a lot of my time and energy on somebody that wasn't feeling the same way I was feeling, right? Like we hung out, we went to like the mall together, roller skating. And when we went to the mall, we took like this couples pictures, like in the the photo booth. I'm thinking about, and I I kept it in my room because I'm like, oh, this like I'm like hashtag manifesting a girlfriend. Ah, my that poor boy, you know. And like she would call me on the phone too, and I just like babbled to me, and I would just be, because as an introvert, great listener. That she even said, "Oh, you're a great listener." And bro, like she even invited me to her house. Um, it was like we went up to her room. Nothing happened, but like her dad was like, "Oh, don't hang out in the room alone." Like like I'm just a boy, you know. um, you know, I had hope. I did, but it was just a fantasy, a painful fantasy. And then I think she started like dating somebody else, and I'm just like, man. And when I think about it, this is like, I said like suppressed memory. She's like the first girl I invited to my house, and nothing. Just to say, nothing happened. It was just weird, but it happened, And I never processed this. Wow, you know. I just looked at it as like a huge, failure on my part instead of being like, bro, you're doing this all by yourself. You don't know what you're doing. It's okay that you don't know what you're doing. You're a newbie. Right? This is also like reflecting video games. Like, oh, you're a noob. Oh, you're a noob. What a, hey, noob, noob. It's like, how is that going to, you know, grow anyone? Like, yeah, improve your conditions if you're just like, oh, I'm just a noob. Like, it's okay to learn things, you know. But the thing I, upon reflection, noticed is like, I didn't just like her. She became my primary emotional connection, you know? Like, when it comes to like intimacy, like that, like I just put all my energy in one point. And like you could tell that's clingy, that's needy, right? And also limerence, like I said, obsessive love. I was like, fantasizing about like our life together, how it'd be like, power couple or whatever. Also, I think there was something about like the popularity, like I wanted to be liked. Like maybe she would be my gateway to popularity, even though I was like, I guess pretty much like an outcast. I would do marching band, a little bit of theater. I wasn't like 100% either group. You know, those American movies, the jocks would be. There's some truth to that, I would say. At least at my viewpoint at that time, there was. Um, you know, and with A Course in Miracles, they say, you seek for love, but do not know where to look, right? Like I said, it goes all back, I was looking for something external and I'd, you know, really put my needs, I was just what they say, nice guy. I'm going to just disempowered men, right? But I was a disempowered man, like always available. Whenever she'd call, we'd talk for hours. Just be like super, super nice and sweet. But I'm like, but inside, I'm like, why don't you like me? Why don't you like me? I see, um, I can already hear like the alpha bros be like, like you gotta show her that you're a man, and but like I said, I was just a boy, and like we help boys out, man. Why kick them when we're down when they're down? If they don't know any better. Like, hey, like I would tell them like son, it's all right. You're just using a lot of your energy. I understand where you're coming from, but let's pump the brakes a bit, right? If she likes you, she likes you. If she doesn't, she doesn't. But focus on yourself. You're such a beautiful, blessed son of God. You don't need anything outside of you. You don't need her approval. You're already whole as you are. But the true pain came from that I didn't set any boundaries, right? I was never taught what boundaries were. My growing up, my no didn't mean fucking shit, right? I'm laughing, but it's true. You know, I was taught only self-sacrifice, right? This is what I thought to get love. Like I said, to put my needs down. Someone like, I will worship you, princess. I will worship you. The land that you walk on is holy. You're a perfect little princess. I'm going, please love me. And that's not what I want for anybody, you know? And I know it might sound like condescending. That's not my intention, but it's like, if you know who you really are as a blessed son of God, you would not tolerate this bullshit. It's bullshit behavior, you know? It's doesn't have dignity, right? I didn't even know what the word dignity was, yeah, obviously. And, shaming a 15-year-old for wanting connection is not wisdom, right? It's fear pretending to be strength, right? But that's all I knew was something's bad happening. It's my fault, right? I'm a little bitch babe. I'm a little beta. I gotta be alpha to get the girl. Well, I'm not alpha enough. That's why I'm such a fucking beta bitch. Instead, like, bro, you know, the ego always speaks first, right? The lower self, right? The higher self, it speaks in the quiet mind. Like, you're okay. I love you no matter what. I love you no matter what. You're fine. Brush yourself off. You don't need this pain. You don't. And the Course in Miracles teaches us special love relationships are substitutes for the love of God. Right? That's what we do. This is what special relationships, we put something above ourselves. And I don't want that for you. How old you are or what your history of relationships have been. I'm not saying I'm a relationship expert. It's not about that. It's about how, especially as men, I saw. These were very painful times in my life. They were formative years, being a teenager, not having a guide, not having a guide, figuring it all on your own. And then beating myself up to a pulp, calling myself names and developing these strong beliefs that I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of love. I'm unlovable. And that's a special relationship, right? But nothing can substitute the love of God, the Holy Spirit within us. Nothing, right? And what I want for humanity and for men, just like to support us, and being okay of being imperfect, right? This is the thing. Like, there's so much weight we have about these romantic relationships that they show your worth, which maybe there's like biology to that with like who can reproduce, but it's gotten so out of control, right? You look at these red pill people. I just saw a video. It was like, I only take my girl out for dinner if I'm at a business meeting. I go to that business meeting and I just ignore that girl for the whole dinner. I'm like, what's the point of dinner then? It's sick. It's sick. And whatever your journey is with romantic relationships, I just want you to know the Holy Spirit loves you no matter what. Right? Please do not berate yourself for your quote unquote failures, right? You know what they say, there's no failure, there's only learning opportunities. And I learned, right? I was debasing myself, right? I was looking at those girls to be like, oh, am I worthy? Am I worthy? See, that was where the pain is. I was looking, yeah, am I worthy? Instead of being like just stating the truth. I am worthy. I am wholly lovable. I am as perfect as God created me. All right, now let's go to sophomore year. All right, we have Miranda. All right. So I brushed myself off to the best of my ability from those past experiences. I'm like, okay, sophomore year, this is the year. This is the year. Um, and I think this girl in my, it's like English honors class, she was very bright, blonde, extroverted, popular. Um, and same thing, like I said, untraumatized self, the charismatic self, he got the Riz, as you could say. I remember like we also texted, um, and I did feel maybe there was a connection. Maybe, that's the thing. Just being a clueless guy, but still limerence, huge crush. Um, this is the thing. I don't remember hanging out with her directly. Probably didn't happen. So even worse, cringe. I'm going to share the most cringiest memory, guys. Right. Um, so this is like after class, and I was like, okay, all right, Kahir, you gotta show her that you like her, right? You gotta, just give her a compliment or something. Like, all right, this is super cringy, all right? And then she was with her friends outside the classroom, and I was like, hey, Miranda, that outfit you're wearing, or like that, I think it was like, the outfit you wore yesterday, it was gorgeous. Cringe! And she's like, oh, thanks. Oh, pray for me, guys. That's right. All right. But um and this is the thing, guys. I held on to that moment for years, right? Because like after I got that reaction, I was like, "Oh God, why did I say that? Oh, you fucking loser! How could you be so stupid?" But and like literally, guys, this is why I'm also making this video, because it was this invisible pain inside of me. Whenever I would hear the word gorgeous, I would literally, I'm not joking, I would cringe for years. Still, like I said, until like maybe 25, 26, when enough time passed, or actually, no, for that moment, gorgeous, it was healthy gamer, right? I had to talk about it, so I was like, 29. Lord have mercy. But it was there, and it was in my mind, right? Because I used it as a battering ram. Like, look how fucking bad you are of girls. You called one girl gorgeous, which we could reframe it in a positive light and be like, look, that took balls. That's what Alpha Gamer did. Like in front of all her friends, and you flirted, and you took that risk, man. And I am getting, you see a tendency here that I would use anything to use for shame, to berate myself over and over again. I use this word to berate myself. I whipped myself constantly. But remember what the course teaches: I am not the victim of the world I see. Right? The mistake wasn't saying gorgeous. The mistake was believing her reaction defined my worth. Right? And if you're dealing with any of these cringy memories, right, we can always correct, right? I release this moment from judgment. Let it be neutral. I let myself be human. I can choose to change my mind about this, right? We can do this for all memories. Whatever cringy moment that's going through your head, remember, I can choose to change my mind about this. This is workbook 193, right? All things are lessons God would have me learn. Forgive, and you will see this differently. forgive, and you will see this differently. I will forgive, and this will disappear. Right? I forgive this image I made of myself, and I implore you guys to forgive any image you have of your own cringe, of your own darkness, and forgive it, and forgive that memory. All right, and we're coming to a close with the end. When I finally got the coveted girlfriend in high school, I was 31-year-old man talking about high school, but I think these stories are important to tell and to reflect about the lessons I learned, so maybe I could help a soul out. Like I said, I wish my dad told me his stories about his cringy moments and how he learned from them. I didn't get anything like that, so this video is a gift to you guys. All right, so to end the video here with last one, the girlfriend. Let's call her Morinth. Deep cut from Mass Effect 2. All right, and this is, I think, maybe also sophomore, maybe junior year. It was around that time. I think, yeah. I think probably junior year, more or less. Anyway, so the thing is with Morris, I didn't have a crush on her actually, not like this previous um, romantic interest. There wasn't like the fire wasn't super burning in me. It wasn't that hot. In fact, like so I just acted more natural around her, and I just looked at her more as a friend. But then I found out that she liked me, and as sad as it might sound, it was like the first time I was like, a girl likes me? What? But I'm not like super into her. I don't know, and I wasn't being radically honest with myself. I even remember her friend like gave me a note and be like, hey, Morinth likes you. I'm like, I don't know, she's not my type. But she used this like Morinth was like, oh, I don't have a car. Can you drop me off home? And me being a super nice guy, be like, yeah, sure, why not? And I did. And like every time she'd leave, she'd like, bye. And my twin brother's Atkil was in the car, and this is so bizarre. He kind of like guilted and shamed me. He's like, come on, Cahir, she likes you. She likes you. Ask her out. I'm using that voice because he's okay, uh, he sounds like that sometimes when he's all sassy. All right. So I did ask her out to homecoming, you know, became a couple. And well, let's just say, it was, I guess, like a teenage relationship. It was, had its ups and downs. Um, one of her friends like told us like, "Oh, you get awkward love." This is the thing that she did this right in front of my face. She's like, "Awkward love," and I didn't have the respect to be like, "Hey, that's rude. That's mean," you know. And the start of the relationship, it was already right from a bad place. Right, it was coming from like, "Oh, I don't know if I don't think I'm deserving of love. This is the first time a girl likes me. I should say yes." And you can only imagine what happened. You know, and she was like the one leading the relationship. She was like, this is the thing. Sometimes she could be cruel. Um, well, like to other people. I remember there was this girl that wore like a low cut t-shirt, and she like coughed under her breath. She's like, slut. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's mean. Why would you say that about somebody else? And she'd like flick my forehead if I didn't do something or say something she didn't like. Like, really, you should flick it hard. And I'd be like, ow, ow. But not like it physically hurt. It did actually like physically hurt, but also it was demeaning. It was demeaning, But this is what happened when you're a disempowered man, and and emotional abuse from women is normal. I just took that shit in, man. And it sucked. It really sucked. And that's why I'm making these videos. I don't think people really talk about it. How, oh, it's so disempowering. It's so negative. It might seem obvious for someone that has a good self-esteem, be like, oh, get the hell out of here. But you don't understand it unless you're truly disempowered. If you felt this mental anguish where you're looking for love outside of yourself and you just feel so unworthy. You'll take scraps. Like I said, I was so thirsty for love, I would drink radiated water. And that's what that relationship was, radiated water. I wasn't a saint myself, right? This is the thing. My first relationship, of course, was going to be super messy. Right? I didn't know how to express my needs. Like I said, I didn't even know I had needs, which is an awful way to live through life. But that's just the reality I lived in. I didn't know I had needs and I wanted to express them. I didn't know how. So if my needs were not met, I would just be closed off, upset, just like what my dad would do whenever um mama would yell at him, or like he'd not treat him with respect. He would just like do the silent treatment and be closed off. And I did something similar. You know, I just I didn't feel valued, appreciated. I would get angry. You know, um, and also this is something I didn't even think about. Like so, I took up French in high school, so we went to an exchange in Paris. So we were in Paris for 2 weeks, and I was a little bit, flirtatious with the French girls, and nothing happened, but I was more like, they say the wedding ring effect, and like girls like you because in a relationship, like I felt and I got the attention, and it felt good, you know. I wasn't thinking, oh, what is Morinth gonna think. So I was not a saint, like I said, but it's still like overall it was it wasn't like a healthy positive relationship. And towards the end of the relationship, like she would like literally like lead me around by the hand. Oh, this is so good. This is why I was like cringe. you know like even my best friend Mikoi at the time, he's like, bro, like she's leading you by the hand, this is bad. I'm like, I know, but it wasn't love, man. And but I tolerated discomfort, right? I tolerated mistreatment because this is all I knew at the time. Yeah. The Course in Miracles. Love is gentle and cannot coerce. Right? Remember, love is gentle. And guys, if anything is resonating and this is like a relationship that sounds like you're in, oh, you know what to do. All right, and let's get to the real wound here is when she broke up with me, even though like towards the end I was like I was like thinking I'm not happy, I don't know what I should do, right? But I wasn't really considering breaking up. I was just tolerating it. But she made up her mind, gave me like a Dear John letter. I still remember, she's like, don't get mad, don't get mad, don't get mad. And I was like, oh, but the worst thing is she had another guy lined up, a fake name, but let's call him Jacob. If you know Mass Effect, I think that explains the well, right? So it felt awful that she got over me super fast, right? And I didn't, it was like the worst emotional pain I had ever experienced, and I didn't have any tools to self-soothe. You know, uh, I remember maybe my friends, like we talked about it a little bit, but I wasn't obviously radically honest about how awful I was feeling because it felt weak, right? Like only weak men talk about their feelings. Just get over it, bro. Ah, man, and I haven't told this story anyone, not even the healthy gamer, because I think it was a repressed memory, or I didn't process this. Um, so Morinth started dating Jacob officially, and I don't know if they did this specifically, but like almost every day after school, like she would park her car in front of mine, not like right in front of, but like maybe she parked in the same area. I don't know if she did it specifically. It almost seemed like she did do it on purpose, but I would see her and Jacob like make out like every day after school, and it's like, fuck, bro, that hurts. Oh man, and this the worst thing is, right? Because I was feeling this pain. Imagine if I was able to talk to somebody that really saw me and be like, hey, Cahir, well, that sounds really painful, but maybe park somewhere else, or or maybe do something else after school and like leave later so you don't have to see it. I wasn't even solution orientated. I think there was something subconscious that loved that pain, right? I was addicted to that pain in some sense. Wow. But man, but the thing is, I held that pain inside and I told no one. See, and sure, it was painful looking at all that stuff, but the heartbreak wasn't losing her. It wasn't just losing her and watching her get over me quickly. It was the suffering and silence, right? If I had the tools I had now and be able to heal it and move on, I wouldn't hold on to the suffering and the negative beliefs attached to it. I have to also share this story to see, because this is like the soothing I got as, I mean, I was a teenager, but still, yeah, young adult learning his way through, well, not teenager, but learning his way through life. It was about a half a year later. Uh, my mom and my brother, we went to the cheesecake factory for some reason, and I took Morinth out there for a date. Like it was a maybe like see like maybe 6 months together or whatever. I can't remember, but it's like a special date. And I remember looking around, looking sad, and my mom said, "Get over it. It's been a year." You know, from your mom, bro. Oh, that's so cruel. Like this is the thing. It's like you don't have control over when you get over it. Like, does that sound even remotely loving? Imagine she'd be like, "Oh, it's been a year. I know, but you're so wonderful. You're so amazing. If you want to find a girlfriend, you will, but don't worry about it. You're so wonderful, so amazing. But get over it. It's been a year." Thank you, Mama. Right? Pain doesn't expire on a timeline. If you're hurting, right? This is something we had to work on Healthy Gamer a lot. It's like your emotions come up. Like you don't control your emotions and we judge them. We like, oh no, 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 I should be over it. I should be over it by now. It's been a year or whatever timeline. If that's just being dishonest with yourself, you're judging what's happening in your body, right? Judging the pain only buries it deeper, right? What was missing wasn't toughness. This is what, like, the screwed up alpha bro thing is just tough it out, right? That's not what we need, guys. We need infinite compassion, unconditional love, right? The Holy Spirit does not judge. It doesn't judge you like, oh, why don't you let go of this pain already? No, it accepts you. This is unconditional love, means unconditional. Whatever's happening doesn't have any timeline. Just like, hey, you're feeling pain. Let's deal with it now, because all we have is now. Right? I wasn't weak for hurting, and you're not weak for hurting. I wasn't wrong for still feeling it even after a year or whatever it was. Right? I needed love, not dismissal. And the story of my life was my emotions were mostly dismissed. And I think a lot of guys, we had that growing up, and it still affects us to this day. It affected me, as you see, 10 plus years later. I don't want that for you. So remember, all attack is a call for love, including self attack for not being over it, right? And I think the reason we keep doing it is because maybe we see in society, or like it's the alpha bro, the masculine, just no, no, tough it out, tough it out. But it's the insane ego mind. And all it will do is perpetuate the suffering. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. All right, let's end today's video with a lesson from the workbook, lesson 85. My grievances hide the light of the world in me, right? These grievances I held on to, they stopped me from seeing the light within this beautiful existence we have. It robbed me of my joy, and I don't want that for you, right? So let's read. My grievances show me what is not there and hide from me what I would see. Recognizing this, what do I want my grievances for? They keep me in darkness and hide the light. Grievances and light cannot go together, but light and vision must be joined for me to see. To see, I must lay grievances aside. I want to see, and this will be the means by which I will succeed. Let me not use this as a block to sight. The light of the world will shine all this away. I have no need for this. I want to see, right? And you could say that anytime a grievance, a cringy moment comes up, let me not use this as a block to sight. The light of the world will shine all this away. I have no need for this. I want to see. I want to see the light. I want to see the beauty of myself and others of this world. I want to see the greatness, the grandeur of who I really am. All right, guys, let's let go of these grievances, these cringy moments, and let us be free. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Remember, please subscribe if you like this healing content. It means a lot. May the Holy Spirit light up your path wherever it takes you. Take care.